And archaeologists claim that here somewhere supposed to be a small amphitheater from the Roman time. And this is this beautiful park, Vladimir Nazar. Lots of trees. In front of me, you can see the land gate, the main entrance into the town. You have to imagine there was a drawbridge, and above the entrance you can see the figure of St. Chrysogonus, and above him the Venetian lion, but with open book, which means the gates were built in the time of peace. And this is the bastion Grimani, or known also as Jelena Madievka Park. And from on the other side you can see the bastion where the park of Vladimir Nazar is. And in between these two bastions there was a ditch. So Zadar was very well protected town. The square of 5 wells, 16th century. You have to imagine that beneath there was a huge tank for drinking water with 5 wells. And there is also a captain's tower. So the first floor was built earlier in 13th century as a part of defensive walls, defensive system. And the terrace and the dome was built later in 18th century. Now, if you walk through this gate, you will enter into the park of the Queen Jelena Madievka, and the bastion Grimani. Beautiful park. So the Church of St. Simon has a special meaning for me because we baptized our daughter here. And today, Church of St. Simon incorporates earliest basilica, Christian basilica of St. Stephen, built in the 5th century. It was restored later in 15th century and once again in 17th century, when also the sarcophagus of St. Simon was transferred to it. And according to the legend, during the Crusades, one of the Crusaders was transporting the body of St. Simon from Syria to Venice, and with a ship. But unfortunately the ship was caught in a storm and was forced to stop in Zadar. On the way he already got sick, so the monks in Zadar tried to heal him. But before he died, he told them that the body of St. Simon is in this sarcophagus and that they should lay him in the church. So they did it. And on the March 10, when St. Simon is celebrated, the central part of sarcophagus is opened and the body of St. Simon can be seen through the glass. The main square, or People's Square, was formed in the Middle Ages as Portea Magna, Here you can see the lodge, the town lodge from 13th century. Opposite there is a town hall built in 1934. Above there is a figure of San Chrysogonus. And here is the guard tower from 15th century. And this square is actually a gathering place, especially when people want to celebrate something like, for example, a victory in a game or some kind of anniversary. And if you want to be seen, this is the place. In one of my previous videos about the Long Island or Dugiotok, I posted some photos of Zadar, but this town really needs to be visited. Now let's start chronologically, since the history of this town can be seen from its earliest beginnings. In 4th century BC, Zadar was known as Yadar, a settlement of Illyrian tribe Liburni. Then in year 58, Zadar became a municipium, a Roman municipium, and then in year 49, a colony of Roman citizens. Under Roman rule, Zadar became a town with forum, with temples, with thermal baths and residential palaces. And I'm standing right now on a perfect preserved Roman forum built in 1st century BC by order of the Emperor Augustus. And here was also empori, building for trading. These are the remains of those buildings, and also the rest you can find here in the museum. In 9th century, Zadar was a seat of the Bishop Donatus, and at the time the church of San Donatus was built on the remains of Roman Forum. You can see here the remains of Roman Forum. And because of the shape of this church, the church is very acoustic, so in the summer the music evenings are held here. So on this part there was a capitol, a religious building, and it was actually a temple dedicated to Jupiter, Juno and Minerva. And this pillar was used in Middle Ages as a pillar of shame. You can still see the chains. Interestingly, most part of the Roman Forum was discovered after Second World War, because Zadar suffered a very heavy bombing from 1943 until 1944, where almost 90% of town center was completely destroyed. I have some old photos, so I'm going to post it in the video. If you are in Zadar, then don't miss the opportunity to visit the Cathedral of St. Anastasia, the largest cathedral in Dalmatia. Construction began in 5th century and it was completed somewhere between 12th and 13th century. Inside of the cathedral, the north apse are kept the remains of St. Anastasia, a martyr after whom the cathedral was named. and the entrance is charged. So next to the cathedral, you can see the bell tower, built from 12th until 15th and 18th century. On the top there is an angel that turns depending from which side the wind blows. And well, this place has a special meaning for me because here, where now Mia Trade is, there was a tourist agency Globetour when I found the first job as a tour guide. The Church of St. Chrysogonus, one of the 4 patron saints of Zadar, and the rest are the St. Anastasia, St. Simon and St. Xylo. The church was built in 10th century.